Hey everybody, Just Sports with John. Got another video coming to you, and this time I'm going to talk about the Green Bay Packers draft and the impact it may have on Aaron Rodgers going forward. So, if any of you don't know, so the Packers drafted, they had a first round pick, and they actually moved up in the draft. I'm not going to go over all that here in the video, but they moved up in the draft and they took a quarterback out of Utah State, Jordan Love. Um, and this was interesting because it wasn't like the Packers need a quarterback. Obviously, with Aaron Rodgers being there, they probably did need a backup. That's arguable. But, you know, you were just 13-3. Your main receiver is Devontae Adams. You haven't had anybody else step up. You don't really have a tight end. You've got two good running backs in Aaron Jones and Williams. And so, and one of the reasons they lost in that championship game, arguably, was that they just couldn't generate enough points. Probably their defense had a lot to do with it too, but they definitely couldn't. It seemed like Rodgers having trouble, and the offense was having trouble getting open and scoring points. So, you got a team that was on the verge of getting to the Super Bowl, and you would think you would want to empower your quarterback to get there, especially with a 13-3 record. So this was really confusing draft. So not only that, but so they draft a quarterback. What do you think? Okay, well, they got all these other picks. They got a second, third, fifth, a couple sixth, a couple seventh round picks. Well, their second round pick, they go and they draft a running back. Now I get it. Williams and Jones, the running backs they currently have, their contracts are technically up after this next season, but it's not like you're hurting for this next year for running back. So I'm not even sure where this guy is going to play this next year, how much he's going to be on the field even. So you go to the third round pick, right? Well, they do get a tight end, but by this point, some of the really top tier tight ends have been taken. This guy, I'm not sure this guy's going to end up being a big time starter for them. Hosea DeGura, he might be more of a backup tight end. So it's not like you're giving Rodgers prime offensive rookie weapons, and then the rest of the draft was pretty much offensive line. I think the guard, a center, a tackle, which is great for offensive line depth, and you could argue that could help Rodgers. But again, we're talking fifth, sixth round picks here. So will they even be a starter? I don't know. And then after that, safety and defensive end. So very little help, very little immediate help here for Rodgers. So, we haven't really heard anything out of Rodgers. We do know that he talked to Favre, and Favre basically said that he didn't think he would be there long term in the future. And, I kind of have to agree. Rodgers has always been a California kid. There's been interviews with Rodgers where he's talked about not doing what Brady and Breeze has done, going on in their upper 40s. And I kind of tend to believe him on that. He's made a lot of money. He has a lot of interest in other things. I think he could do very well on whatever else he wants to do. But more importantly, I think that right now Rodgers would want to win. And it seems like the Packers may be falling back. Now, I think he'd be there this year, obviously, and see what goes on and see what maybe else they do. But there's not a lot of wide receiver help out there, not a lot of tight end help out there right now, free agent wise. So unless there's some kind of trade that the Packers are going to pull, not likely. They're not a team that does that. In the next 2 years, I don't see the Packers being as good as they already were. I think they kind of hit a little lucky streak with a new coach, new hot offensive program that people had a hard time defending against. But people catch on to that kind of things as you go along and you coach, and then people run back tape from the previous year. So I can see where Rodgers' body, Rodgers' mentality, maybe his faith in the organization fell, and I wouldn't be surprised if he does ask for a trade eventually. And honestly, I kind of think he should. I think he's been way too frustrated there. I don't think it's his climate. I don't think he's truly ingrained himself into Packers fans. I think it's more talent based what people see from him. He just doesn't feel like he's ever really been truly a Packers person to me. Um, Now, I think somebody like the Raiders would love to get their hands on him, and I wouldn't be surprised if by next year they're already trying for that. I also think the Rams might have a stake in trying to get him, depending on how Goff does this year. And they're actually rebuilding some of their offensive weaponry, so I think that could be a possibility. I don't see the 49ers. At this point, I don't see the Chargers unless it's like 3 years down the road, maybe 4 years, maybe. But Rodgers would be significantly older by that point. So honestly think that there's a very good chance he could end up on the Raiders and he could end up on the Rams. As far as California teams go, or well, Las Vegas, but close to California teams go. It wouldn't be Arizona, and it wouldn't be Seattle. So I'm just including Las Vegas in that too, since it's so close. But there's potentially other teams that he could end up with as well in the future. If Brady only goes 2 years and retires at Tampa, maybe Tampa would want to take a shot on him. So, and there's other teams, but that's another discussion. But if I were Rodgers, I think after this year, if I don't see more weapons coming, maybe wait till after the draft next year, then I would definitely be asking for a trade if I was him. I really would. But I think I'd be careful about that as well too if I were him. So that's my take on it. I think I'm going to do another video coming up about Draymond Green and the NBA and how people think he has changed it and my perception on all this. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Stay tuned for other videos coming, and don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you very much. Bye.